Chuck Todd, he was on a roll today. First, he started his intro to meet the press with a complete decimation of the president. He showed that the president was that complete liar, and they had it sequenced perfectly where he had the date, the time he said something, contrast with the lie that he told. It was clinical. It was done perfectly. Then now he has Ronna McDaniel, the chair of the Republican National Committee. And what does he do? He simply sliced her comments. Now, I removed some of the extraneous stuff that she talks about because, Republicans try to get on these stations and get very wordy, and they get wordy so that they can take up all the time as they're misleading so that we can't get substantive. Well, he got pretty substantive. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Think of what would have happened if he'd have gone out and said, this is awful. We should all be afraid. We don't have a plan. It would have been a run on the banks. It would have been a run on the hospitals. It would have been a run on the grocery stores. As it was already hard to get some of the things we needed in the grocery store. And I think history will look back on him well as how he handled this pandemic.
The president also fought a mask mandate and sort of was discouraging for people to wear masks. He rushed and encouraged governors to open up states too quickly, causing the second rise of this. So everything you just said there, that was a few actions, but they've not been consistent. I mean, if we had had the president endorsing wearing masks earlier, there's plenty of scientific studies that would have saved lives. So the president, it's hard to accept what you just said, considering how hard he fought mask wearing.
Well, I think 2020 vision is, in hindsight, is always, perfect, right? But as a new pandemic hit our stores, as a new virus came, and to say that he should have known then what we know now, 7 months later, isn't really fair. So as the science has come forward, the president has said we should wear masks, we should do the things that the science is telling us to do. But we can do that and balance. But we can't do that and balance opening up our economy.
No. Look, he never said, he never encouraged mask wearing. He waited months to encourage mask wearing. He defied mask wearing, and finally, he did a tweet about wearing a mask. He refused to wear it in public, and now you have a political divide in this country. Do you not see the direct correlation between the president not encouraging mask wearing and the fact that fewer Republicans wear masks than independents or Democrats?
I don't think this is politically dividing at all. I wear masks. My kids wear masks. My husband wears a mask. This isn't a Republican or Democrat thing, whether you wear masks.
I'm talking about the president.
This is about individual freedom. And the president wears a mask, too. I mean, the president has worn this and he has said this. But the reality is, it's sad that it's become political. This is a president who's willing to work with every governor, Democrat or Republican. This is an administration that has provided everything the states have needed. States are navigating this differently. The governors have autonomy over their states.
Right, but how do you account for the fact that it's the United States of America that accounts for the 25% of the world's deaths?
Well, we do have more testing. We are seeing the mortality rates go down. We have passed 100 million tests. I feel like we are in the right space and moving forward with this vaccine. And the president has led us through uncertain times with the Democrat Party who's politicizing a time of crisis when usually people come together.
It is. I think there's a lot of people that take issue with most of what you said there, considering how the president continues to try to downplay the severity of the virus. We're still have a caseload that is much higher than the Western world. I mean, again, you can say all these things. The results speak for themselves. You compare us to the rest of the Western world, and we have failed. Is there any way to look at this and compare to the Western world and say that we've done better than other countries?
I will just tell you right now, if Democrats were in charge, if Joe Biden had his way, go look at his statements in January when he said the president was being xenophobic and hysterical for closing the borders to China. No, where's the outrage at China? As we're hearing more and more stories come forward and research coming forward that they knew about it earlier, that they weren't transparent. What about the WHO that had one job, Chuck, one job, to warn the world about a pandemic, and they failed?
You just said that the WHO didn't do enough to warn the world of a pandemic. The President of the United States has admitted that he's purposely downplaying the severity of this virus to not panic the public. So
no, Chuck,
both of your statements can't be true.
He's trying not to panic.
He said that.
He said that. It's amazing, right? Maybe who didn't want to get the world in a panic? So like the president didn't want to get the world in It is a completely ridiculous argument. There is really, folks, only one argument that makes sense. There's only one thing that needs to be said. All Western countries, America has most of the debts, period. Which means we as a country, in the way we implemented the solutions to COVID-19, have failed relative to the rest of the Western world. You cannot say that we were successful when others have been much more successful, when people have kept more people alive. Taiwan, 10 deaths, the entire country. Now let's get one other thing straight. You cannot claim that you were successful under these particular conditions, and there was only one person that was the president of the United States. That's Donald Trump. Don't let them give you a convoluted argument. There's only one truth. The one truth is, in America, there are near 200,000 people dead, and there will be by election time likely 300,000 people dead. And in the rest of the world, they are not seeing that. Let's not get into the weeds. State the fact. America, 200,000 deaths. The president lied about the severity of the disease. Punto y final. Don't let them spin and tell all these things. And remember, they want to bring in H1N1. That somehow somebody said that they didn't do all the things right. Well, again, H1N1, total deaths, I think, was 17,000 or something like that. Coronavirus, and it's still a pandemic going alive, 200,000. When they bring in a comparison in about H1N1, go ahead and accept the comparison. 200,000 dead versus a small amount of deaths. When they want to bring in Ebola as a comparison, comparing the Obama-Biden administration, always allow them to do the comparisons, because when the comparison is done, it shows competency versus incompetence. Competency versus incompetent. Embrace the discussion, but embrace the discussions on the correct terms. They have failed, and we can see the failure not in the amount of testing, but in the amount of dead Americans. I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel, and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.